There we go. We are live. Yay. Welcome, 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 all of our beautiful friends around the world, wherever you are. Always such an incredible honor to be here with you. And for those of you that are catching the replay, please let us know down in the comments, #replay. Let us know that you're receiving all of the amazing love and light that we're sending your way. And today I have the extreme pleasure to gather with Kristen Van Bissett. Yay, such an incredible honor to have you here with us today. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Honored to be here.
Yes, oh my goodness. You are a channeler of guides and light language, and you offer personal sessions to give whoever is receiving their connection with you guidance in life on their journey.
Yeah.
Wow. What an amazing honor to be able to support like that. That's incredible.
It is. I love doing it. It's been quite a journey to get to that point. But I'm absolutely happy about it now. It's very humbling.
It's so needed right now. Absolutely. I mean, this is exactly what we as a humanity are calling in, is more people connected with their heart and aligned and serving and giving from there. So it's yes. You are very, what you are offering is very, very needed right now.
Thank you.
So would you like to share a little bit about how did you learn to tap into source, your guides, to be able to help support people on their journeys?
Yeah, that's been a long journey. I've been very open since I was a child, so I could see like spirits and things like that when I was a child, but I always wanted to just be like normal and not be weird. Don't be different. I wanted to really fit in. So I learned, of course, because when I saw people that others couldn't see, and I could know like what had happened, if there was like something disharmonic happening in a house, and I came in there and I could feel it, and I started understanding that other people are not seeing the world that way. So that means I'm not supposed to see the world like that. And then I started to just run away from it. And in 2012, so the last couple of years before that, it had gotten really, really intense. Like I was seeing things. It affected me physically as well, because I was just keeping running away. And what happens then, of course, is that the energetic field is not attended to, because I was not feeling my own field. I was trying to run away. And so, of course, whatever wants to come in, comes in. In 2012, I collapsed. So I was working as a dance teacher, as a personal trainer. I was studying nutrition. I was like, always running around, being really active, and I completely collapsed. I had 2 years in and out of hospital. I had seizures, and I finally got diagnosed then with Lyme disease and CFS in 2014. Now, what I've understood later on is that the seizures and this that I had is because I was so open, because I am a channeler. So all the information and all the energy was coming into me, but I didn't know how to ground it. I didn't know how to hold it. I didn't want anything to do with it. And so what happened was that my nervous system was just like, it was short circuited, because it couldn't hold the energy that was coming in. And then really the journey started from there, when I understood that, okay, I need to see someone to see if this has to do with my health as well. And then I got a lot of help from a really good acupuncturist and Qigong master, as well as a channeler medium that helped me to just get basically to give me the understanding that, okay, this is actually who you are. You can't run away from it anymore. You can't shut it off. This is who you are. And then a long journey started in trying to accept it first as like, okay, maybe I can, accept that I'm seeing what people call ghosts, and I'll deal with that, and then I can just live a regular life. But then I started seeing galactic beings. Then I was visited, and then suddenly I went into a trance state without knowing what was happening at all, and I started suddenly just shaking, and then just weird sounds was coming out. But my ex, who I was living with at the time, he understood what was going on, because they had told me that maybe one day you'll suddenly start writing something that you don't understand where it's coming from. But I didn't know anything more about channeling, because I was really not looking into it, because I didn't want to go like down that path still, because I had so much resistance. But then he was filming the whole thing when this happened, and I started making sounds. I started talking a language I didn't know what was. And I didn't remember anything of it when I came out of it, but it was like suddenly I was back and I could just get up and I was feeling fine. And then later I learned that this was light language that was coming through. Then the channeling English started, first from my, I'll say, main or principal guide, who's a Native American chief. And then later a group of blue beings started coming in. They are giving me more information about the collective, and what's going on in the collective. So they were the ones who really pushed me to start with the YouTube channel, start getting the messages out. But it has really been some years there of learning to hold my own energy, to ground all the energies coming in, and to really get to the point where I feel that it's not a curse, but it's actually a gift, and I can use it to help people. And I'm really grateful for it now. But I have been working against it for quite some time. But of course, when you are constantly running away from yourself, you're abandoning a part of yourself. And so, of course, that also affects the health. So it has been very intertwined for me, and a long journey. But it's, yeah, I think also an example that you can really work through a lot of things, even though not all conventional, trained people will understand all aspects of it, though it can be very helpful with parts of it. It's, yeah, many aspects to everything.
Thank you so much for sharing. I keep hearing these incredible stories where these amazing beings who, like you, who are on this journey of being more deeply connected with yourself are put in kind of these very almost harsh situations, with, like you said, it's almost like people aren't quite sure how to support. And so they're like, okay, well, we'll put you in this kind of Western focused
Yeah.
institution.
Yeah, that was what I was moving to as well, because I had all these symptoms and I was in like full fatigue, dark room, no sound, like I was really ill. So of course that's where you go. And
yeah,
but,
and with the medication too. And so it's like, it's really interesting, because that's how my journey started, was with Western medicine. But it's like, as I went deeper, then I started opening up to Ayurveda, and as you said, Chinese medicine, and all these other alternative ways of supporting ourselves. And so there's something about that where we need to go through what we know, and then, open to what we don't know, and allow that to guide us. It's really interesting. In order to be able to
everything we know is
through.
based on the past, and where we're moving is beyond what we have experienced in the past.
Exactly.
So, but that's like, it can be really an inner tug of war. And I think also what helped me was that I never identified with the diagnosis. So I always knew that I will be completely healed. I don't know how long it will take, but I know that it's an imbalance or various imbalances in my system that I can get into balance again. So I think that not going into identifying with and like being caught up in all of that, that really helps for moving out of it as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, because as long as someone is identified with the past, like you said, like with a certain version of knowing who they are, then it's really challenging to be able to open up to all the other possibilities that are calling you forward.
Yeah. And I think that's really
How do
what
you,
a lot of people are experiencing in the world now as well, because it's very often that which starts an awakening process. It's the identity being shaken up. So like for me, I lost my dancing, I lost my studies, I lost my job, I lost relationships, I lost my health, like everything overnight. And it really, like, you have to start asking those questions as well. Who am I if I'm not all of this? Do I have worth if I'm not all of this? If I'm not doing these things, if I'm not achieving these things? And then the ball starts rolling. And I think a lot of people in the world are experiencing that right now. And that can be really, it can be a huge struggle and challenge, but we're only becoming more of who we truly are. So everything we're identifying as is only an idea or a construct, really, even though it's hard to let it go and to evolve and move on and grow into something new. It's really, we're not moving away from who we truly are, we're moving into who we truly are. And that's really what I feel within me as well. I would never change anything or what I've been through for where I'm at with myself at this point. It's been hard, but it's been worth it as well. I wouldn't be the attunement and the connection with myself and all of this without at all.
It's like priceless.
Yeah, it really is.
Yes, so I do have a question about that because everyone has their own way. You were talking about how important it is to make sure that whatever the energies that are going on around you are not being taken on or absorbed or impacting you, and how important it is to ground yourself. And so would you mind sharing a little bit about, do you have like a daily practice? How are you making sure that you are centered and not kind of being pulled in all these different directions?
Yeah, well, first of all, I do, of course, get pulled by life sometimes. I'm not a master. I'm walking through every day like everyone else.
Yeah.
But energetically, I do have quite some practices also to keep my channel clear, because that takes work to just keep it clear. So when I get up in the morning, I never turn on my phone immediately. I always go into either breath work, I do a meditation, either one, or I go into the forest just after breakfast. And then I turn on my phone after that. And I also tune in with one of those I'm working with, and I get some messages every single day. So I do all of that before I turn my phone on. So that I am connected. I know I'm with me. I know I'm grounded. I'm grounding in every morning, every night, every time I'm out in nature. And I do spend quite some time in nature because that's just amazing. Hugging some trees and sitting by the sea. And, yeah. I think that's really important, and also finding the breath and coming back into the body, because I think so many in the spiritual community are talking so much about the going somewhere and astral traveling, and it's so much about seeking out to something. But I think the most important thing is to come back in, because it's from the body and from within the body that we are expanding, so that we experience more. So when I've had like the most amazing bilocations or astral travels that I've had, it has been when I've been just really in my body, just breathing completely relaxed, and then suddenly boom, and I'm somewhere else. I think that's to redirect the focus back in. And then also that makes it so that your field is attended to.
Yeah.
Because if we're in our minds constantly and we're running around and trying to do all things and we're constantly out there, we're being distracted by everything that is going on in the world, who's saying what, all the narratives, everything, then we don't have, how can I explain this? We don't have like the control over our own power in the same way. So we give our power away rather than actually using our mind to focus our energy from the heart and into what we want to create and where we want to put our energy. So in terms of like protecting and these kind of things, my perspective on that is rather than putting yourself into a bubble and hiding and like contracting, because that's really the energy of contracting in, which invites attack, because you're telling energetically that, oops, I'm a bit scared. But if you're standing in your field, you're in your body, your presence, then there's much more difficult to get in as well for anything that you don't want to have in your field. Then if something comes in on an energetic level, the most important thing is always to find out where is it hooking into me. It's not about the other energy, really. It's about where do I have a blind spot that is hooking into, and then I can work on that and I can change that, and then it won't have anything to hook into anymore. So both on the physical level and the energetic level, it's really about being present in the body and grounding and shutting out the world sometimes.
That's just so powerful. I completely resonate with what you're saying. I can remember when I first started playing with Reiki and the symbols that they give you as you continue on your attunements. And absolutely, there were times where that's exactly what it was. I was feeling scared or uncomfortable and not empowered. And so if I'm hearing you correctly, it sounds like when you're standing in your power and when you're in your truth and you're feeling the light in you, or whatever it is that you do one does to, be connected, then nothing can touch you. You're just beaming so much love and light out that it just,
because you're
out.
feeling your own field, and then there's, then you can consciously choose to invite something into your field and to engage. But if something that you don't want starts to come near your field, it's just to choose not to engage. So it's coming back to that empowered choice, really. And also not beating ourselves up if we feel that we don't have that control over our field, because I have certainly been there, and it was a part of my journey where it was safe for me to feel that I had something around me. But then from there I started imagining that I just have my energy and I'm filling up whatever I put around me, so that I can feel safe within that, and I can start to expand out, feeling it, and then I don't need it anymore. So whatever one needs to do to become, feel in that space. And if something comes in, it's really, it's a gift in the sense that it gives you awareness of where there's a blind spot. You can change it, you can heal it, and you become stronger.
Absolutely. I love it. I love talking about this stuff. I do want to, I have a quick question about astral travel. And I find that astral travel always, the conversation depends on who one is speaking with. I remember the very first time that I did it, I didn't know what was happening. And it was a little uncomfortable for me, actually. I was kind of like, what just happened? And I was doing my yoga teacher training in Rishikesh, India. And so I just went to kind of like the guru guide of the school, because I didn't know who else to talk to about this kind of stuff, because any of the other students I talked to had never experienced that before. And it was after I had just done several Vipassanas, like 10-day silent meditation. So I was really tuned in. And I said, so what should I do when I'm in this space? What do I, and he said, just practice yoga. Which of course he would, because he's, this founder of his yoga ashram.
Of course.
But I just, however many years later now, I have other ways of perception of what to do. But I would love to hear, because again, we're on the assumption that maybe someone's never done astral travel before. What are your thoughts on astral travel, and what are you doing when you're out there?
I am, well, it's different. Sometimes I just get taken somewhere. That's very often what happens. And then it's just like watching and experiencing, feeling like being in a movie almost. And there's all these things happening, and I'm completely aware of everything. But sometimes it can happen from like deep in meditation. And then suddenly it's like, the state shifts and you are somewhere else. If I want to consciously go into a journey, I will, drums, for example, shamanic drums will bring me really easily. Well, then it's more difficult almost to stay here. Or I will put on some really, really like soft music and just breathe and just call in my team. I will ask if there's anything I like need to see, if there's anything that I'm ready to go, I'm ready for. And I just open and I surrender to it, and then I will go. And I can set an intention that I want to go there or I want to do that. Sometimes that will work, sometimes it will not. It depends if it comes from my ego trying to, oh, that would be cool, like I want to go there, then it won't work. But if it's for my highest good and for a higher purpose, then I can consciously sort of choose where to go. But very often for me, it is that I'm being taken somewhere in order to show me, like I've been taken to Australia, for example, a lot of times the last year. Been shown things going on there. I've been most often maybe in the Andean mountains, because there I have memories from past lives as well. And sometimes I'm being taken off planet, and quite often also into the inner earth. So those are like places where they take me and they show me, they teach me something, and then I'm coming back.
And then what do you do with the information that you are receiving?
It depends on what it is. Most often it's collective information. So then I share it on my YouTube channel, both channelings and the information I get on my travels or journeys. I do share them for the collective. And I did resist that for a while as well, because I really didn't want to be on video or talking, or, it was just like, then everyone will know that I'm doing this kind of work. And it was still sort of lingering there. But a couple of years ago, that's when the channelings, like they started teaching me on some frequencies, the frequency of fear, the frequency of codependency, some like very specific things. And I was like, okay, but I can use this in my life. This is good. And they started really telling me again and again that you need to share this. This need to come out. There are people that has contracted with you to hear these messages. You're not a channel just for, having the recording on your phone or writing it down. Or and then when March 2020 happened, then I understood everything they had been talking about, because then I was like, oh goodness, this is actually really collective. And then I got over myself and I started.
Yeah, you just do that first couple of times and then you realize like, oh, this is easy.
Yeah. And it also feels really good to use it for something. And it feels much more meaningful.
Yeah. And I'm sure you're getting incredible feed forward from all the friends that are in your field being connected with you. And so that helps too.
I'm very grateful both for the information I'm receiving and for those giving it to me, and also for everyone receiving it. Because you have to open to receive as well. So
yeah, that's such a huge part.
It is. It is.
Yeah. And I really try to stay away from generalizations, but I'm noticing that at least with my mama friends here, it's all about giving, right? Moms
Yeah,
are naturally tapped into giving, and that's how
yeah,
children survive.
yeah,
But there also needs to be the part for the mother to be able to also receive, or otherwise they end up burnt out and, self-sacrifice and all that other stuff that happens. And so
absolutely.
it's a journey.
It is. Yeah, and the whole like people pleasing,
Hmm?
self-sacrifice, all of
Oh my
that is
gosh.
huge, huge programs. And I think most of us have had a lot of it or a bit of it. And
Hmm.
it's not self-loving, because if you truly feel that love for yourself and you're really, not abandoning yourself,
Hmm.
and you have people that will, that respect it and that feel the same for themselves, it will be a completely different interaction. You can say no, and you can nurture yourself without feeling guilty. All of that is only a program,
Hmm.
and it's not really real. Um, but it's it takes quite some work to
Yeah.
to start
Yeah.
releasing it and seeing it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it,
How would you say someone can support themselves, like tips or tools to release that kind of abandonment, old program, as you said, or old pattern?
I will say first becoming aware that it's there. It's the
Yeah.
first step. So actually seeing that, okay, I am overly giving.
Hmm.
And when I see that, do I then think, oh, I'm a really good person, and this other person, I'm like blaming them for not doing the same, and I'm like, and not being judgmental in it, but being just observing and loving towards yourself and observing your own patterns, because it's
Hmm.
all about taking self-responsibility.
Hmm.
Because it's, if you're people pleasing, for example,
Hmm.
and it's difficult to say no, there are wounds and there's trauma that makes it so that, and you have learned the patterns from parents and the society, from school and everything. So it's both taking responsibility for seeing that I do have this pattern and I want to consciously make the choice to change it,
Hmm.
not go into a victim mode of poor me, I'm doing that and the other person doesn't do anything back, or all of, because there's so many aspects to it. So really starting to observe your own patterns and to start to feel the emotion underneath. Why are you doing it? Why is it difficult to say no? If you truly feel that you want to say no, or
Hmm.
if you're even not sure, tell people, I'll think about it.
Yeah.
I'll message you in an hour, or I'll come back
Yeah.
to you tomorrow. Then you come back to yourself, you breathe, you come into your body. How does it feel? Does it feel like an expansion if I want to do this? Or does it
Hmm.
feel like a contraction in my chest? If it's a contraction, it's a no.
Hmm.
And then you will have all the arguments coming up. Yeah, but then you're a bad person. Yeah, but then they won't like you anymore. Yeah, but then they won't care about you. Yeah, but then you're this or you're this or you're that, and you will have all of those things. When we become aware of what's driving the pattern, then we can start really changing it, because then we can start changing those beliefs that
Hmm.
are feeding the pattern. And when
Yeah.
we change those, the pattern will release. But then we have to do, to make the conscious choice.
Yeah.
And some people won't like it when we're starting to change our patterns. They will be triggered, they will have their reactions, and that's okay, but that's theirs, it's not yours. So
Hmm.
really starting feeling into what's my responsibility and take full responsibility of that, and then see what's another's responsibility and not take that on, to
Yeah.
separating it and to feel all the emotions underneath, because it really needs to be let go of, because we also often we are programmed and we've learned to be afraid of emotions. We are a bad person, or we're this or that if we're feeling anger or resentment or guilt or shame, or there's so much that we are holding.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I think that's, even whether we're talking about the people pleasing or not, it's always a really wonderful idea to make choices that feel expansive
Yeah.
and to check in with ourselves and because sometimes it's not even about someone else. It's just, do I want to go for a walk or do I want to, and so just always, there is something called a sway test. Because I just remember when I started all this, it just felt so hard because I had just been so stuck in that old paradigm, and it was like I desperately wanted to be on the other side, so to speak, like in this new space, but it just was so entrenched in who I was and how I identified myself that I was just like, I just didn't know where to go. And especially when I was beginning, I didn't know about amazing beings of light like you who are, helping support people on their journey. And so I was kind of just letting source guide, stumbling and figuring it out on my own. And so I had learned about this thing called the sway test. And I always thought that was really wonderful because, you just literally stand and take a couple of deep breaths and get really connected with yourself. And then just ask yourself, do I want to do this thing? Or does this thing resonate with me or whatever? It's always a yes or no question. And if it's a yes, you fall forward. And if it's a no, you fall back. And it's like, you don't have to think, because I think that's part of what the dynamic is getting entrenched in those old thoughts and beliefs and, will this person love me still? And you know what? It turns out a lot of those old relationships fall away. And that seems really scary at first because it's like, again, there's this identity, like you said, of like, but this is who I am.
Yeah.
I'm a person that has lots of friends and, or I'm a person that, this or whatever the identity is. And then when those people start to leave or we decide to walk away, that's like when you're really feeling empowered, when you're like, nope, I'm kind of done with that. I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
The beautiful
and it's challenging also to be in that period that many are on that path of the journey. And I was as well, I was like in complete isolation.
Right.
And really sitting with that feeling of loneliness. And that's really, really challenging. I remember when I like really had to go through the most challenging part of sitting with that loneliness. I was crying for 3 days straight. And I was like, I didn't know how to move through it. I just knew that I can't distract myself from this. I need to sit with this emotion. It will take the time it takes because I will be stronger on the other side. And that was pure hell, but the most empowering thing ever.
Yep, that's right.
And then also seeing, what do I make it mean that people are not resonating with me anymore? It's like,
absolutely.
But then when we come to the point where we start to feel that people are coming into our lives because of us being who we truly are, then it's like, it's so worth it. That will happen for everyone.
When we are vibrating at the level of who we really are and embodying who we are, then we just magically attract. Like I definitely remember there was a period in my life I had moved to San Francisco. I didn't know anyone except for the partner that I'm, still with. And I just desperately wanted friends because that was how I identified with how I could be happy was friends, right? I was like a friend collector. And I just like, I made myself so miserable trying to, grasping and striving and all of that. And I eventually left, but once we get to this space of just being comfortable with who we are and not that pushing away and denying parts of who we are, then we're like lit up. And so it was scary for me. It was really scary because I had to, like you said, like sit with it and just feel those emotions. And our emotions are guiding us. They're helping us to know where to go. And so again, like when we're feeling expansive and things feel like a yes, then we feel really good. But if it's a no and we're starting to contract or feel it, like something feels a little bit off, and our body is also this amazing antenna that's guiding us.
Absolutely.
then we can know, right? And so, and
Yeah.
that comes along with like the dis-ease and all the other things. Our body is just, asking us, please listen to me, like, please honor
Exactly.
me,
And I
please.
think that's the kind of genius thing as well with the way the sort of mass awakening started, that it has had to do with a health type of issue, because it gives the focus to the body, even though it has been, there's a lot of fear, there's all these programs, narratives, and all of that. It's the thing that it takes the focus to the body and takes the distractions away and put people more into isolation to actually sit with themselves and actually talk with the people they live with and all of that.
Yeah.
That part of it is quite genius. And I think it's helpful as well to remember that the body it's a consciousness. The body has a lot of technology that we are only starting to understand and to see and to learn. And it's also a part of the earth.
Yeah.
It's an animal, so it has a lot of, like, it likes to move. It we need the water, we need it will talk to us because it actually is a consciousness. And then we are a light being in the physical form, so it's our light, our consciousness coming into the body. The problem is all that is between, which is our personal personality and ego and mind, because that's where all the noise comes in and all the attachments and all the identities. So helping, to remind ourselves of that when we're going through those challenging moments, when there's something we need to let go of, there's something moving out of our lives, there's that identity being, or having to change, to remember that that's not who I truly am. Everything that is in between my light fully coming into my physical body is actually something that is helping me towards feeling myself, because that's when the more programming is taken away, the more old emotions from traumas and wounds are being felt through, so it can release from the body, the more space it has for our light to fill our body. And that's when we can really beam out that light. And only by emanating that light that we truly are, we are also having a ripple effect on everyone else. No matter what you're doing, no matter who you know, like, or where you find yourself at the planet, it doesn't matter at all. You're just beaming out that light. It makes ripples. It changes everything.
That's so beautiful. So let's come back to you for a second. So you're offering these personal sessions. Are they kind of like packages? You work with someone several times and kind of support them, or is it just a one-time thing, or how does it?
It depends on the person. So
Yeah.
some people I work with over longer time. Some people come in for one session and then they go off and they do life for a period, and then they come back because they want some more guidance. So it really depends on the person and what it is and what they need. I'm not really a fan of like putting something like on top of people and like it has to be like this and it has to be for this time and it has to be like this. I want it to be more fluid, the way I work with people.
That's beautiful. Is there anything else you're feeling called to share? This was so wonderful to connect with you.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying. Yeah, really, really beautiful space you have. And I think it's a beautiful offering for your members to have this and to have different people coming in. I guess like an advice for people is to really commit to themselves and choose themselves. Because coming back to who we truly are, honoring ourselves, nurturing ourselves, that's the way forward. And the more we are in that energy, the more we are coming back to ourselves, the more we actually commit to walking that path on the awesome days and on the really challenging days. then we are also at the same time helping other people, because it comes from who we are. So, because I think a lot of people think that, yeah, but if I focus on me, I'm just being selfish or egoic. But it's really the opposite way, because then what we do will not be out of manipulation. It will be from the heart. And that's really where we're moving. We're moving from the mind into the heart, learning to use the mind to direct the energy through the heart and into creation. And that takes nurturing ourselves and committing to ourselves.
Yeah.
And having compassion for others, because every single person this earth now is moving through the same energies as we are. So compassion for others as well.
Yeah. It's beautiful. I've heard that saying, the longest journey is from the mind to the heart.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Absolutely. But I think we're doing great as humanity. They keep telling me that in channelings as well. Like they keep saying, please remind people how much they're doing, that they're doing really great, that what they are doing just by being who they are actually makes a difference, by just paying attention to what's in front of us at any moment, dealing with that, moving forward, finding joy, letting ourselves feel all those amazing emotions as well, and just take one step after the other, and ask for help when we need it. And knowing that we are really doing a lot in this bigger picture of a big, huge shift in the collective consciousness.
Yeah. That's so reaffirming. Well, thank you again so much for being here. And I'm not seeing any questions right now, but for anyone who does catch this on the replay, please feel free to reach out and write any questions or comments. We're always happy to connect with you. And I'm going to put all of Kristen's contact information, her YouTube channel, and other ways that you can connect in with her, so you can continue to bask in her amazing light after today.
Yeah, I'll be happy to see you everyone. And thank you so much, Carrie.
Yeah. And thank you everyone for watching and being with us and helping make this community grow and spread our love and light around the world. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.